this is Zach from Worn and Wound, and today I'll be doing a hands-on with the Timeless Club 2 by Nomos. This is a collaboration watch that was made for a boutique in Texas called Timeless Luxury by Nomos. It's the second edition they've done of this kind of collaboration club. They've done also Orions with Nomos as well. We reviewed the first one a year or so ago when that first came out. What was different about that watch is it had a blue dial with red highlights on it. It was the 38.5 millimeter date version of the Nomos Club. And it just had a really nice palette to it. It was a little bit different than from what Nomos makes. The clubs typically only come in a light dial and a very dark dial, so having something blue was just kind of cool and interesting. And they sold out really quickly. For the second version, which we have here, there's actually two colors. You have blue with yellow highlights, which is a totally new version, and then blue with red highlights. But there's another difference that actually makes this a totally unique Nomos Club in general, which is that it's the 38.5 millimeter case, but it's a non-date dial. So that doesn't exist in any other variation, at least currently. You couldn't get it from Nomos directly, so that makes this kind of interesting, and it's priced accordingly. So it's in between the smaller 36 millimeter club and then the date version coming in at $2,160. So that makes it a little bit lower than the date version. You know, it's interesting that I think that Timeless went and did that and worked with Nomos to make this kind of special edition. I think they got a lot of requests for a non-date version, so I think it's very cool that they kind of answered, you know, their fans and customers' desires by making this. And then you just have, you know, this cool looking version of the club. So like I said, this one has a lacquer blue dial. Sometimes it appears very dark, depends on the light. Right now it looks pretty dark to my eyes. Sometimes it's a brighter blue. And then here they accented it with yellow, which is a strange combination. At first it's a little striking. It's definitely different. I think for people who are interested in yellow, it's going to be the most appealing. I don't know actually exactly where I stand on it. When I first saw images, I think it called out to me more than the red version because it's more different. In person, I might actually like the red version a little bit more just because it's more my style. But the yellow does it works with the blue. It's just a kind of a different combo, something a little almost conservative about the overall look. I do like the bright yellow sub secondhand though, that has a nice pop to it. The watches, like I said, so the 38.5 millimeter case, it wears very nicely. You know, I personally own a 36 millimeter club. I wear it frequently, and it's a very nice wearing watch. Has very long lugs. The 38.5 millimeter version is even bigger and beefier, but I still think it wears very nicely on a 7-inch wrist. You know, it looks actually bigger in my eyes than 38.5 millimeter watches normally would. And I'm not really sure why. It's just like a thick metal, and it just, you know, has a nice robustness to it, which is cool. Nomos often considered, you know, in my mind, very kind of elegant, delicate brand. And what I like about the clubs is that they're a little bit sportier. They almost pull from field watches a little bit. It's a nice kind of mix of that elegance with something a little bit more just rugged and durable. And the 38.5 millimeter case definitely comes across. Comes on a black cordovan strap. If you're familiar with Nomos' straps, they're very beautifully made. Horween shell cordovans, so that's a great material. I will say though, I think the black misses here. They also make brown, there's color 8 cordovan as well, and I think that would have picked up the blue a little bit more. Here, it sometimes kind of confuses the eye into almost making this seem like it's a dark gray or a matte black rather than the blue that's there. Something with a little bit more red in it, I think, would have made that pop a little bit more. Obviously an easy switch, and it is a good strap regardless, so, you know, it's not something you're going to be upset having, but I think the color combination could have been a little bit better. Another really interesting thing with this watch that is also unique is that the movement in here is Nomos' Alpha movement, but it has their new swing system in it. So when they switched to the swing system, they dropped their own naming convention. So alpha, beta, et cetera, is gone, and they replaced it with, honestly, a less fun-sounding nomenclature where they call DUW and then a series of numbers, which is Deutsche Uhrenwerk and some serial numbers. So much more Teutonic sounding. I like the alpha, but this is an alpha with the swing system. This is the only place you'll find that. Whether or not that means anything to you is up to you, but that is, I think, very interesting because, you know, perhaps this is how they're kind of moving out those old movements, but you're still getting the new swing system. There's only 100 per each version of this watch. The last ones went really quickly. So if you're interested in these, you're definitely going to want to move on it. Please read the full article on Warner Wound. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.